Since the arrest of Simon Ekpa, it has been like 2 or more Mondays. Do you have two? I think 1 Monday or two.
It's about 2 Mondays now.
Okay. And we have relative peace in the southeast. Currently, there was another Monday that just passed yesterday. And I think we've not had any incident of like attacks, like the way we had it like 2 or 3 months ago at Anambra, where around 7 boys were
Okay,
actually butchered. And Abba, since Simon's arrest, he has been peace. We have relative peace.
Yes, peace will return. It goes a long way to prove a lot of people who believe that the insecurity in the south is caused by Simon Ekpa and his autopilot group, right?
Yes.
Because autopilots have always claimed the responsibility for most of those attacks on the Nigerian police and army.
And even mostly the citizens, because sometimes in their bid to maintain that seat at home, to make people adhere to the orders, sometimes they get to the junctions or they get to inside the market and just start firing.
Yeah, those ones are people who are product of counter war between Simon Ekpa and then the members of the Nigerian forces. Now, if you don't don't forget that there are those who are being eliminated on the basis that they are sabo.
Yes, like those who open markets and like market leaders who the government most times ordered that they should open the market, and some of them in trying to obey that order from the governor or maybe from the local government chairman. Like the one happened in Enugu.
Yes,
Sometimes
the market union chairman
was actually attacked. And if you listen to most of these guys supporting Nnamdi Kanu, they have this thinking that why we have sit at home is because Nnamdi Kanu is not released.
Yes.
And then, yes, even if you agree with that, Nnamdi Kanu has said that anyone that takes someone's life is not part of the struggle. If our people are dying because of him, you understand? That doesn't
Then
make
of what
sense.
essence is the struggle,
Is the
by the
struggle
way?
that he's in the cell. He lost both of his parents because of the struggle. And then how can he be here and our people are dying more being in the cell? So it doesn't actually make sense. If we want sit at home, now they can started the sit at home stuff.
Yes.
And like sit at home is
Demanding for a referendum.
and I think that time majority of the Igbos willfully
Sat at home.
it's a civil disobedience kind of tool. But now you can't just force people to stay at home, and people don't see the reason to stay at home now. Then you're imposing the whole thing on
Yeah,
them.
you're using
Force.
brute force.
Force to,
on
and
people.
sometimes the penalty could be as huge as losing your life if you don't sit at home.
Or even destruction of properties, because most times we see a lot of vehicles
Vehicles
being raised.
being burnt
you
down,
know,
houses.
and,
Sometimes motor parks are burnt,
Yeah.
and people's livelihood shattered for life because of that. And like some other people have always said, if people sit at home willfully, that's when you are
It
making
will be very resounding.
resounding. That's why even what you are doing is making sense and you're making progress.
Yes, of course.
If people refuse to sit at home and you're imposing it upon them to sit at home, then there's no legitimacy for the thing you're doing.
Sometimes I begin to wonder how some of those who claim that they are agitators are thinking. In South Africa, for instance, during the move against apartheid,
Yes.
a lot of South Africans they sat at home willfully.
willfully, yes, yes.
Do you understand? And then the government understands that this is a people's movement. Nobody was being forced to stay at home. It is what affects all of them.
And most of the ANC leaders will take pride in that because most times the government will also want to give their own counter instruction and all those ones. And most times it will be successful, some other times it will not be successful. So, but those things cannot be done by force.
No.
Because this is, if you are looking for a referendum in the Southeast, how are you going to get a referendum if you turn the people against you?
And now, once the people are against you as a leader of a freedom group, I wonder. It's not actually respect. I don't think Simon Ekpa has earned the respect of so many Igbo people. What he has done is he has entrenched fear in the spirit, mind, and soul of so many Igbo people. A lot of Igbo people who sit at home on Monday weren't sitting at home because they are any longer interested in the struggle. It's because of the fear of losing their life or even their property being destroyed.
Yeah, so, and I think, like you said, people don't actually, Simon did not earn people's respect. I think Nnamdi Kanu actually laid a lot of foundation for him. And
Nnamdi Kanu is a man, even a lot of
Igbos.
Igbos, even educated and non-educated Igbos, actually earned his respect. If you remember the last time he was released from detention, a lot of Igbo socio-cultural group even honorarily made him their chairman. They understand in cognizance of what we believe is a fight in the interest of our own people.
Yeah, he has a moral fight, and when you listen to Nnamdi Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu has a lot of historical backings to a lot of his claims. Like, he approaches this struggle deeply, let me say, in a deeper sense, ideologically, more than Simon. Like, if you listen to his broadcasts and all those kind of things, Nnamdi Kanu actually lay the foundation for all these things that is going on.
I can actually tell you that Simon Ekpa is more of a brute than a leader. He's a tyrant. Given his background as a member of the Finnish army, you know, and then the approach of an ex-officer is always different from the approach of a civil or civilized human being who have never seen life within the barrack.
He was so frontal in a lot of his attacks and without much strategy to the whole thing. And I think I don't know how he believed that he can get through with all those kind of things without actually being where he is today.
And the unfortunate thing is that there are a lot. Do you know there are a lot of those agitators who believe that Simon Ekpa is not even is not under detention. He had issue. Anyways, it's a ploy by the autopilot propaganda group to make, you know, just to give some people hope. But
they believe he's under house arrest. Anyway, the investigators didn't tell any person whether he's under house arrest, but they say he could be under house arrest. He could be in police facility.
But he's under detention.
In detention. Even if you're under house arrest and you're still under, because you know your freedom is taken away from you.
Yeah, your freedom has been restricted.
Police will be in your house 24 hours. They will guide everything you're doing. The calls will be monitored. If you can only make call once in a week or 2 times in a week, which could only be to your lawyers and your family members. So you are still under detention. You cannot come on air and then start broadcasting
well, I don't know some of those who believe the propaganda machine of autopilot when they say that it's not, because we know how much it tweets at least in a day. At least 4, 5, 6 times, sometimes 10 times in a day.
It's always current about Nigerian issues.
And then it's always
posing them,
yes, of course,
talking about things. I think the return of this normalcy in the South is something that should be welcomed.
Yeah.
Like, we have to go to work on Monday. And I know it's not going to be easy because a lot of people, like you said, people are scared.
Yes.
They've seen fear. Some people have come very close to actually losing their life for their property. And they don't want. They just say, okay, let's just forget about this one day and be at peace. Some people, when this thing started like joke those days, they will go to market and people will run. These guys will enter inside market and chase people away.
Well, do you know, even in Anambra and Imo State, there are a lot of, a handful of communities that has been ransacked. The youths of those communities have run away from their own communities in order to seek refuge elsewhere, courtesy of the activities of autopilot. There was a friend of mine who actually went for a burial in Anambra sometime last year, and then he came face to face with members of the autopilot. He said, these guys are really mean. He came to the community and he was looking for a place to, you know, cool off a little bit before going to the burial ground, to the burial ceremony. And then, unfortunately for them, on their way to a beer parlor, you know, he was carrying a RAV4, and those guys with Prado Jeep had double crossed them. They were searching them. You know what they were looking for? If there was any evidence that these people were people from maybe a journalist, maybe
Nigerian
police,
Nigerian police or army,
or maybe whether you have a sticker of any political party. And then when they found none, they had to ask one of them stand up. The guy stood up and they said, "Where are you people coming from?" He said, "They went for a burial." And then luckily for them, he had the brochure of the burial they went for. And then he presented it before them. And the next thing the commander, the person in charge, told them was, "You see this road? It's heading towards the exit of this village. Use that route and then let us never see you again." Now, these are people's villages. These are people's home. And then you are making it unlivable. You are making it for impossible for people to come and even work in those communities. And then sometimes I used to tell people, I was discussing with someone over the other day. I asked him, if this community where this sort of stuff happen, will you be happy that those kind of abnormality is coming into your own community? Now we might,
most people will not be happy.
yeah, we might be happy, we might be laughing over it because it's another man's, someone else's community. But if it happens in your own community, I bet you won't be a happy man.